Hi everyone, my name is Riana Heffron, and today I'll be walking you through how I would support a friend here at the University of Rochester who's been struggling through a difficult semester. After reviewing my friend's situation, I was able to break it down into three main stressors. Academic overload, a breakup that's led to social struggles and isolation, and strong family pressure to perform. Oftentimes, breaking up stressors into groups can make it more manageable, easier to take on, and solve. In an RA position, I know that we're often one of the first people that students open up to when they're overwhelmed. So, my goal would be to listen with empathy, normalize seeking help, and guide them towards the resources that can actually make a difference. The first challenge my friend faces is academic stress. They've taken on a heavy course load with multiple labs, workshops, and tough classes, and now they're falling behind. They're also hiding this struggle from their family, which adds guilt and pressure on top of their exhaustion. I'd start this part of the conversation by validating how difficult their situation is. I might say something like, "It makes complete sense that you're overwhelmed. You've been pushing yourself really hard, and it sounds like you haven't had a break." I would also ask about their expectations they have for themselves. Could it play a part of their exhaustion and be overwhelming them? Then, I gently shift from empathy to empowerment. I'd remind them that academic challenges don't define their worth, their professors are here to help, and that needing help isn't a sign of weakness. It's a normal part of being a student. To help them take practical steps forward, I'd introduce a few key U of R resources. First is the Tutoring Center. I'd encourage them to visit the Learning Center's tutoring page. Tutors can help break down tough concepts and keep students accountable week to week, which is especially helpful when motivation dips. Next is the CCAS, which is the Center for Advising Services. I'd suggest that they meet with an academic advisor to discuss whether their workload is sustainable or not. Advisors can help them explore pass-fail options, academic petitions, or strategies for catching up before finals. Next is the Student Resources and Student Success Coaching. These coaches work on big-picture skills like time management, organization, and exam prep, which can prevent future burnout. Last is the Writing Center. If they're struggling with writing-heavy courses, I'd share how the Writing Center can help with structure and clarity, which often reduces stress more than people would expect. I'd also offer to help them set up the first appointment if they feel intimidated reaching out. For example, I might text them a direct link or even sit together and walk them through the scheduling page. The key here is to help them regain a sense of control. Once they start connecting with these resources, they'll begin to see progress, and that often relieves the emotional burden too. The second stressor is a recent breakup from a 10-month relationship. A big loss for anyone, especially during college. This kind of experience can leave someone feeling isolated and unsure of who they are outside of that relationship. When my friend shares this, I'd start with empathy rather than solutions. I might say, "That sounds really painful. I'm so sorry." Breakups can really shake your sense of stability, especially when everything else in your life is also demanding. Being vulnerable is also key in building trust. So, I would tell them about my experiences with breakups during college, and that it is completely possible to heal and move on from these situations. Then, I'd normalize what they're going through. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel good, others won't be as great, and that is completely okay. Additionally, I will make a mental note of any possible alarming behaviors or comments that might be a threat to their own life or others around them, and communicate this information to the proper staff members. But beyond emotional reassurance, I'd want to help them rebuild connection and self-compassion. I'd ask gentle questions like, "Have you been able to spend time with friends lately? Is there anyone on campus you feel comfortable reaching out to? Or even, would you want to hang out together sometime this week?" to make that first social step easier. Then I'd introduce relevant U of R resources. First is the UCC. I'd tell them about the UCC short-term counseling and workshops. The UCC team is great for students dealing with relationship loss, self-esteem issues, emotional adjustment, and more. I'd share that I've personally known peers, along with myself, who found it really helpful, so they know it's a safe and approachable space. Next is the Campus Community Connection, which is the CCC. I show them how to download and use the CCC app to find student clubs or weekend events that fit their interests. Even attending a casual movie night or a craft can help reintroduce small joys. Last is the 988 Suicide Crisis Hotline if necessary. If my friend ever expressed hopelessness or hinted at self-harm, I'd make sure that they know they can call or text 988 anytime. And, as an RA, I'd know how to escalate it to a professional staff member if needed. Breakups in college aren't just emotional. They can disrupt someone's routine, confidence, and support system. My role would be there to help them rebuild these small supports until they feel connected again. The third stressor is family pressure. My friend's family checks in regularly about grades, expects high performance, and doesn't know that things aren't going too well. This dynamic creates guilt and anxiety and can make the student feel trapped, caught between who they want to be and who their family expects them to be. I'd start by recognizing how heavy that pressure feels. I might say, that sounds like a lot to carry, especially when you're trying to live up to expectations that might not match where you are right now. Then I bring the focus back to boundaries and self-worth. I'd say something like, you are allowed to be honest with your family about struggling. You deserve support, not just pressure. And grades don't define how hardworking or valuable you are. These might be small reminders, but they help reframe how students view themselves. As far as resources, I'd again connect them to the CCAS, which advisors can help the student make an honest, informed plan about their academics so they feel more confident sharing updates with their family. Next would be the Student Resources Hub. It's a great central site for links to wellness, academic, and community support. Last would be the UCC again. Counseling can be a safe space to talk about guilt, expectations, and identity. Therapists also can help them role-play these hard conversations with family members if needed. If they were comfortable, I might even encourage them to draft up a short message to their family that's honest but not overwhelming. Something like, this semester's been challenging, but I'm taking all the steps I need to in order to get back on track. It can be empowering to take back control of their own narrative. If I were sitting down with this friend, I'd plan the conversation intentionally to make it safe, genuine, and productive. First is setting the tone. I'd choose a comfortable, private spot, maybe outside or on campus over coffee, so it feels like a conversation and not a counseling session. Or, if they prefer a more private spot, I'd offer my room or ask if they have any preferences on where they would like to chat instead. Second is listening first. I'd let them share everything without judgment or interruptions. I'd use active listening, eye contact, nodding, and paraphrasing. It helps build trust. Third would be reflecting and validating. After they'd speak, I'd reflect back what they said. It sounds like you've been doing your best to manage a lot. School, family, the breakup, and it's just become too much. This shows understanding without offering premature advice. Fourth would be collaborating on the next steps. I'd then ask, would you like to look at some resources together? Or would you like me to walk with you to the tutoring center or counseling office? That way they don't feel alone in taking action. Finally, I'd end with reassurance. I'd remind them that asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of self-awareness, and that they deserve to feel supported and balanced. I would also thank them for their honesty, trust, and vulnerability. Asking for help is not always easy, and I want my friend to know that I'm always here to be a trusting support. As an RA, I'd also make sure to maintain confidentiality and follow the right protocols if I suspect a mental health crisis, while also still showing empathy and presence. After that first talk, I'd keep showing up, not in an intrusive way, but through small gestures. I'd check in every week or two, asking, hey, how's your week going? Or did that tutoring session help? I'd invite them to hall events or study sessions to help rebuild connection. And I'd remind myself that as an RA, sometimes the best thing I can do isn't giving advice. It's constantly being kind, consistently being observant, and dependable. Ultimately, this is what being an RA means to me. Creating an environment where students know that even when life feels overwhelming, someone cares enough to listen and point them in the right direction. To close, I'd just say that every student goes through hard moments. What defines our community is not the absence of struggle, but how we support each other through it. And as an RA, I'd strive to be the bridge between students and resources, between isolation and connection, and most importantly, between struggle and growth. Thank you, and Meliora.